Today we're going to continue the talk series on the core concepts of the science of mind. And today we're going to look at core concept number 7. Life is reciprocal. Just to bring you back so that you have the background, core concepts are the basic theories of how the laws of the universe work. We're going to look at these theories from the standpoint of both the universal, the infinite, and then from the human perspective. And you notice I said theories because we don't know. What we're doing is we're formulating an idea based on the best information that we've got throughout the entire history of the universe. And the basic premise that we talk about here at Agape is the fact that there is one. It is infinite. And so the big leap of faith to follow the teachings that we talk about is the leap of faith into the idea that there is an infinite. If you can take the leap of faith that there's an infinite, then everything that we talk about is a natural, logical outpicturing from that one thing. That's where faith really starts. So we're going to talk about a reciprocal universe. And we're going to look at it first from the universal perspective. You see, this is a reciprocal universe. For every visible form, there is an invisible counterpart. Everything in nature tends to equalize itself and keeps itself in balance. In other words, thought, form, idea, form. Even in the Bible, they talk about, and the word was light, and there was light. The word was dirt, there was dirt. Whatever it is, there's always going to be balance in the infinite. And there has to be. Because in order for the infinite to truly be infinite, there's got to be balance. Otherwise, it couldn't exist. It means there would be something outside of it. So what it's saying is that whatever is put out returns. It's a mirror. Life is a mirror. Within the universal harmony, the divine givingness must be balanced by an equal acceptance. And that's why we talk about that. In order to give, someone must be received. In order to receive, someone must be give. And we're looking at it from the infinite perspective. There's a divine givingness and there's a divine acceptance. There's the divine acceptance and givingness of life, and then life is taken away. This is on the human form, not on the divine form. So everything is always in balance. And the interesting thing about that is, when we're not in balance, when the universe is not in balance, it will always find a way to balance it out. And we'll talk about that a lot more when we look at the human perspective. Misuse of the universal law is always balanced by some form of disorder or dysfunction. Restoration of alignment within universal law is balanced by restoration of harmony. In other words, a hurricane comes in. No, let's take this one instead. You're in a huge forest, and a natural fire comes in. It destroys all of the plants, all of the trees. What happens? It's balanced by growth that comes back and replenishes it even healthier than it was before. So nature is always in balance. If there's fire and destruction, then it will be followed by growth and reinvigoration and recreation. Nature is always doing that. Planets are being destroyed, planets are being created. Stars are exploding, new stars are being born. The universe is always in balance. Our human life demonstrates this reciprocal nature of the laws of the universe. It demonstrates it in the laws of attraction, the laws of giving and receiving, the laws of mental equivalence, the laws of doing and being done by, and other such principles. In other words, you can call it anything you want. A lot of people call it the law of attraction. It's a law of cause and effect. But whatever you put out comes back to you. Whatever you believe mirrors back to you. This is the thing that I love so much about it. I know exactly who I am in every moment because it's being reflected back to me. It's being reflected back to you. The question is, are you aware enough to see it? Are you aware enough to understand that what is being mirrored back to you is a reflection? And through that reflection, you can discern whether or not you want to continue with that reflection, or do you want to change it? Do you want to put another action out so something else is coming back to you? And the key thing is, it's not that, and we have to look at, there's also balance in areas of life. In our human form, we have areas of life, and a lot of different people use a lot of different ones. I use 5 areas of life. I think about the spiritual, I think about the financial, the career, the relationships, and health and well-being. And so what I put out into the universe about my thoughts and the actions that I take about money reflect back to me. If I'm going to a job and I hate my job and I'm just doing it, it's going to be reflected back to me in the satisfaction that I have and the money I have. But if I'm out there and I'm juiced and I'm using my talents to do the work that gives me joy and I'm serving greater and greater numbers of people, guess what? The law of reciprocity is going to bring that back to me. If I'm going out there and I'm being kind to everyone I meet, guess what? The law of reciprocity is going to bring back kindness into my life. Now, it doesn't mean that that's all I'm going to experience, but that's all I'm going to be aware of. What you focus on is what you are aware of. And what you are aware of will be the experience that you have. Because right now, in your life, there's an infinite number of things that are happening. But you're only experiencing the ones that you're focusing on. To truly be aware is to know that there's an infinite out there expressing right now in every possible way. And at the same time, to realize that as a conscious creator, where you put your focus determines what you as an individual experiences. And realize this, you can't do this for anyone else. You can only do this for yourself. What you can become is an example for everybody else. And being that example is probably the greatest teaching that you can do. I realize that the words I'm speaking to you right now, I don't know if they'll make any change in your life. I'm hoping that they'll get you to ask a question. But I'm hoping that if you get to know me, you get to see me through these talks, you get to know me in person through the various meditations I'm doing online, through the daily talks that I'm doing, through my in-person stuff, through my classes and all of this, that you see that I'm trying to live this to the best of my ability. And by living it, maybe you'll look at me and say, if Lee can do it, I can do it. I want to be a living example of the possibility of what you can do and what you can do even more than what I'm doing. See, Ernest Holmes describes the human outpicturing of this principle of reciprocity as the general law that what we are to the universe will be to us. So whatever we are to the universe will be to us. Who are you being today? Because whoever you are being is what is being received and reflected back. Especially we're going to go back and do a little Bible here. What we give out, we receive back. Like attracts like. Whatever a man soweth, he will reap. And that no man escapes the law of reciprocity. No person escapes it. Every one of us is subject to it every moment of every day of our lives forever and ever. This law is always working. And that's why it's really important to put out what you want. If we habitually live with thoughts of poverty, failure, loneliness, helplessness, illness, then such conditions tend to manifest in our life. I got this example completely at the end of last year in December. I was so focused on this whole thing of COVID and how I was going to fight it. I was going to be healthy. I'm not going to get it. I'm going to focus on it. And I'm looking, what do I need to do? What is the right thing for me to do? How do I avoid this? Da, da, da. I was so focused on it, I didn't realize it. And then I got the disease. And then when I got the disease, I realized, oh, you got exactly what you were putting out. The key thing is focus on health. And so once I got the disease, I focused on health to heal. So here I am, like, what is it, about a month and a half later, and I'm perfectly back to normal, doing everything I would normally do, talking to you the way I always would talk to you, going to the gym, eating the food, doing everything I would normally do. Everything's back to normal. My total focus now is on being the healthiest Lee I can be, and that's all I'm focusing on. What kind of thoughts do I think? What kind of meditations am I doing? What kind of things am I watching? What kind of things am I drinking? What kind of things am I eating? What kind of supplements am I taking? What kind of exercise am I doing? What type of people I'm around? What type of stresses am I allowing in my life? I'm looking at all the things, and the only thing I'm choosing to focus on is health. We can do the same thing for money. No matter where you are financially, if you're focusing on not having enough, the universe sees that. So focus and be grateful for what you've got. The other night, someone in a class was mentioning, I don't have a lot of money, but I understand that I've got to give. So should I just give a lot of money so I'll get more? I said, no. Start where you are. Give a little. Give what you can to what's spiritually feeding you. Give what you can to what's spiritually feeding you. It may be $1, but give it with joy. And then when you're giving it with joy, feel that. Know that you've given the best you can, and then become that person and do even more. Do better for yourself. Give yourself, volunteer your time if you've got time. Support others if you can support others. Do the best you can in the job you can, regardless of what the job is. You may not be in your perfect job. Do the best you can. More abundance will come to you. As more abundance comes to you, give a little bit more. What you're showing the universe is that you understand the law of reciprocity. You understand the law of giving and receiving. And the universe will know that and will bring more opportunity for you to get more money. You notice the universe doesn't give you money for nothing. You have to earn the money by being the person who would attract that energy back to them. If we habitually live with thoughts of love, compassion, joy, peace, achievement, and abundance, then such conditions tend to manifest in our lives. Why wouldn't you focus on thoughts of being kinder today? Be a little bit more considerate when people are there. Here's a great one. When someone does something, don't judge them. You have no idea what the influences in their life are. You don't know what's going on. You don't know if they're living with an abusive partner. You don't know if they're the abusive person. You don't know if they're struggling with the disease. You don't know if their kids have got something horrific and they don't know how to deal with it. You don't know if they don't know where they're about to go bankrupt. You don't know anything about that person. Most people are not authentic enough to let you know. So when you're driving down the freeway and someone cuts you off and you want to go into road rage, simply say, I really don't know what's going on with that person, but I do know that I have control over how I respond. So I'm just going to drive along and not worry about them. I'm going to be a safe driver and get me to where I want to go. And if someone cuts me off, I know that I have the skills to stop myself from becoming in an accident. You see what I mean? Put your energy and focus on where you want to go. Now, there are going to be times when there are accidents. No question. Things are going to happen and we have no control over it. But how we focus will draw back to us. How we perceive the event will be drawn back to us. I know that really, really, really simply because even as I work with my wife, and we've been married now for over 49 years, the other day when I was with her, I noticed something My wife is probably the kindest person I know. And I noticed there was sort of a funkiness about her. And I asked her, I said, so what's the funk? And she says, well, I'm worried about retirement because she's going to retire in a month and a half. And she's been doing her job for 45 years and it's her identity. And I said, let's talk about that. You're getting the opportunity to start all over and create a whole new you. The question is, what do you want to be? And she says, I don't know. And I said, isn't that great? Isn't that great? Because you've got the world open to you. You're not locked into being anything. And she says, yeah, you're right. I'll be able to spend more time with my granddaughter. So you know what I did the next day? I called up my son and I said, is it okay if mom comes on this day and is there for Claire's birthday? And he goes, yeah. So what did I do? I made the arrangements for her to fly there and to be with her granddaughter for a week. And I'm not going, and you're probably saying, why aren't you going with her? I said, because I want this to be her experience. This is my way of being kind. I realize that Claire needs her Nona, needs her grandmother. And I know that the Nona, the grandmother, needs her Claire. And I don't need to be a part of that. I can be a part of something else when it's my turn. Or we go together. But you see, kindness can come in many, 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 many ways. And it's probably the one thing, the more you put kindness out, it comes back because it's the law of reciprocity. The more you put abundance out, it comes back. The more you give without any expectation of return, it comes back to you in ways that you will never, ever, ever possibly imagine it could. But see the power of how to use this reciprocity, that's your power. I've got our we believe statement on the slide in front of you. Wherever you're watching this, I would ask that at this moment, you read this statement with me and read it with feeling and see if the words ring true for you. We believe that heaven is within us and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. Right now, what I know for you is that your mind is open, your consciousness is ready to expand, and you are now free and are taking that step into the unknown. And when you do, you will truly discover how magnificent you are and your life can be. Until next time, have a great day.